Have you ever noticed how some movie characters leave a mark the second they appear on screen?
Masochistic.
Bill, it's your baby.
It's not just great acting, it's a pure filmmaking skill. A good character introduction doesn't just show someone walking into a scene, it tells us who they are, what drives them, and sometimes what their fate will be. Today, we are diving into the art of character introduction and how some of cinema's greatest directors mastered it. For understanding deeply, we all look at three unforgettable examples: T.E. Lawrence from Lawrence of Arabia, Oskar Schindler from Schindler's List, and Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood. Let's break down how each of these characters is introduced and what makes those moments pure cinematic brilliance. But before that, you're watching Prime Cinephile, and if you love movies as much as I love, don't forget to subscribe for more deeply rooted videos about cinema. Let's see why character introductions matter. Every story begins with a meeting, not between characters, but between the film and the audience. The way a director introduces a character sets the tone for everything that follows. It's not just about saying, here's the hero. It's about saying, here's who they are, and here's how you should feel about them. Some introductions are loud and dramatic, others are quiet and mysterious, but the best ones use visual storytelling, lighting, framing, sound, and rhythm to let us feel the character before we even understand them. Let's start with one of the best examples in early cinema, the best film of 1962, Lawrence of Arabia, and the character is T.E. Lawrence, directed by David Lean. David Lean's Lawrence of Arabia opens in a very unusual way. It starts with the end. We see Lawrence's death, his motorcycle accident. He dies before we even meet him properly. It's a bold storytelling choice, and it instantly makes us curious. Who was this man, and why was he so important that an entire film is dedicated to his life? Because in film, everyone is talking about that guy. Then through flashbacks, we see the man behind the legend. Our first real glimpse of him alive shows Lawrence lighting a match, his face glowing in the dark. It's a simple movement, but it's layered with meaning. The way he looks at the flame, fascinated yet careless, tells us who he is.
All the lion, Tony.
Curious, reckless, drawn to danger, a man who wants to play with fire. In that one act, David Lean captures his entire character arc, a man who becomes consumed by the very passion that defines him. The lighting, the framing, the slow reveal, everything makes Lawrence appear both human and mythic. He's not just introduced as a soldier, he's introduced as a symbol of confidence and leadership. Then we see Oskar Schindler in Schindler's List, released in 1993. When we first meet Oskar Schindler, Spielberg doesn't tell us who he is. We don't hear him talk about his business, his background, or his beliefs. Instead, we watch him doing something. He carefully picks out his expensive suit. He shines his shoes, straightens his tie, pours himself a drink. Every movement is confident, precise, and stylish. Spielberg hides Schindler's face for a long time. We only see his hands, his clothes, his accessories, and everything that represents power and class. Then we finally see him at a dinner table, surrounded by Nazi officers in a restaurant. He laughs with them, flirts them, buys them drinks. He is charming, manipulative, and fully in control.
Martin? Yes, sir. Who is that man?
That's Oskar Schindler.
Without a single line of exposition, Spielberg tells us who Schindler is, a man of luxury, ambition, and self-interest, someone who uses charm as a weapon. What's incredible is that this same man, introduced as greedy and opportunistic, later becomes the savior of more than 1,000 Jews. That's what makes his transformation so powerful. As an audience, we remember his introduction, and it makes his redemption feel even greater.
Power is when we have every justification to kill, and we don't.
And then we see the greatest acting performances in modern cinema.
I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my boy!
The character of Daniel Plainview, played by Daniel Day-Lewis, in the 2007 movie There Will Be Blood. This is one of the most haunting introductions in modern cinema. Paul Thomas Anderson does something very bold here. He doesn't use any dialogue for the first 15 minutes.
No.
No talking, no background, no explanations. We see a man alone in a deep dark mine. He is hammering at rocks, crawling through dirt, breaking bones, and dragging himself out of the pit all by himself. This silence says everything. It tells us that Daniel Plainview is a man driven purely by obsession and survival. He doesn't need anyone. He doesn't trust anyone. He will dig, bleed, and fight to rise above everyone else. When he finally speaks,
Men that work for me, and they are men I know. I make it my business to be there and to see their work.
much later we already know him. We have seen his ambition, his pain, his hunger for power. Anderson uses silence, sound, and isolation as storytelling tools. No backstory, no dialogue, just pure cinema. It's a perfect example of showing, not telling. So what do these three scenes have in common? They all prove that a great character introduction isn't about information, it's about emotion. Spielberg uses glamour and charm to show Schindler's power. Anderson uses silence and struggle to show Plainview's obsession. Lean uses mystery and myth to show Lawrence's inner fire. Each director creates a strong emotional impression before the character even speaks. We don't just see them, we understand them. That's what makes these introductions unforgettable. So next time you watch a film, pay attention to that first moment when a character enters the frame. Notice the lighting, the music, the camera angle. Everything you see in that moment is intentional. It's the director's way of telling you this is who they are. Because in great cinema, a story doesn't begin with words. It begins the moment a character steps into the light. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe to Prime Cinephile. Till then, keep watching films, keep inspiring, keep learning and enjoy the greatest frames of cinematic beauty.